Chapter 1. Only you can see this sacred task. Every chosen one reaches a turning point, a moment not broadcast to the world, but whispered directly into the soul. It doesn't come with loud signs, social media confirmation, or applause. It arrives quietly, in the pause between thoughts, in the silent ache only God can interpret, in the space only heaven has access to. You know what you felt, even if you can't put it into words, even if no one around you seems to understand, because they weren't meant to. This kind of divine download isn't meant for mass approval. It's meant for personal accountability. You are trusted with it, you alone. So yes, you may find yourself pulling away, not in arrogance, but in self-preservation. You're not walking away for people. God is moving you away from noise. Why? Because your next instruction requires stillness. You're being repositioned, not as punishment, but as preparation. Your circle is changing. Your access is changing. The call to include everyone has expired. You're not called to explain it. You're called to carry it. God has placed something inside you, something sacred, something generational, something dangerous to darkness. And it must be protected, not paraded. Rare things require rare handling, and you're carrying something rare. That's why some relationships fell off. That's why some rooms feel unfamiliar. That's why some invitations felt wrong. Heaven isn't withholding. Heaven is shielding. Your soulmate is trying to connect with you, but they aren't sent to rescue you. They're being aligned to recognize you. You won't need to prove who you are to them, because they carry the same whisper. And when they arrive, they will hear your silence. There won't always be excitement associated with this task. It will actually feel like a burden at times. You could ask yourself, why me? You may struggle with God's silence and other people's misunderstandings, but it doesn't mean you didn't hear him clearly. You did. You know in your heart that you did. Confirmation is that pull in your soul, that unwavering inner urgency. God has entrusted you with something that is invisible to the naked eye. It takes spiritual sensitivity to make this move. It calls for spiritual development. It calls for the kind of silent bravery that moves even in the absence of applause or companionship. You're not lost. They're leading you. There is no punishment for you. You're getting ready. You're not perplexed. The mission for which you are being consecrated is beyond the realm of human comprehension. And this is what you need to keep in mind. Not everyone is meant to see what you see, and not everyone will. It is referred to as a sacred assignment for this reason. You must keep it safe like a treasure until the time comes to reveal it by obedience rather than announcing it. It was revealed to you at a hidden location. This act is so deeply buried in your spirit by God that even the enemy cannot find it. It's that strategically sound. That is its level of protection. And you'll know when it's time to take action. A sign won't be necessary. A second opinion won't be necessary for you. You'll simply know, because it's not about being understood when heaven sends a message for your eyes only. It has to do with alignment. Type amen to embrace the angel's blessings. Show your support by giving super thanks up to $20. Chapter 2. Silence is not stagnation, it's strategy. You might have the impulse to talk, to communicate the dream, to post the vision, to share the vision, to tell others what's happening next, or to declare what's stirring inside your soul. But hold on, even while it's normal, that urge might not be spirit-led. Silence during this holy time does not equate to repression. It's a tactic, and rather than avoiding it, God is calling you to embrace it. Silent obedience has a very sacred quality, not the kind that must be seen, the kind that doesn't require approval, the type that doesn't grovel for praise or remarks. You see, God doesn't expect you to share what he is genuinely creating in you. He requests that you keep it safe. And even when you're raging with revelation, that protection frequently takes the form of silence. Stasis is not silence. It's insulation for the soul. There's no delay for you. They're developing you. No one is holding you back. They're keeping you together. God is keeping your next move a secret for a divine cause. You're not lost, which explains the silence you're strolling in. It's because you're being guided in a manner that is impossible for your eyes to follow and your ears to understand. This move's plan is not intended for public consumption. It's a holy scroll that was penned just for you. Spiritual assignments grow in the dark, just like a seed does. God calls it strategy, while the world labels it calm, because it is impossible to stop what is hidden. You can't sabotage something that hasn't been spoken yet. The opponent cannot trap it if he cannot track it down. The spirit of this quest is stealth. Only those who are spiritually grown may recognize this divine grounding. You will attract unnecessary warfare if you move too noisily. Sharing too soon could lead to others voicing doubtful ideas. You risk delaying what was already happening if you speak at the wrong moment. Your weapon is silence. Your compass is discernment. 1,000 internet pronouncements are not as loud in heaven as your obedience in the quiet areas. Showing off your skills to the world is not the point of this season. It's about demonstrating your faith in God, even when no one else is there. It's about walking by faith rather than by criticism. It has to do with putting obedience ahead of praise. Indeed, it could feel isolating. You might feel unheard of. You might even begin to wonder whether you're doing enough. But don't worry, you're right where you should be. Your silence is calculated. Your silence is protected. In reality, your solitude protects you from attacks that you were never designed to withstand at this time. Silence is not a delay tactic when you're following heavenly instructions. It's a technique for preservation. God is bolstering your inner man, keeping your mental space safe, and maintaining your lucidity. God does not always want you to share what he reveals you. Stewardship is the purpose of some things. Thus, keep low, silently move. Let God tell you when the moment is right, because no one will be able to refute it when heaven launches you. How you constructed so much in quiet will be a mystery to them when they look back. How did you manage to stay noise-free so far? How you persevered without acknowledgement. And the solution will be straightforward. To be noticed, you didn't move. To be dispatched, you had to move. This is your time of peace. It's Chapter 3. The peril of pursuing verification on earth. Selected 1. You have to grasp this really well. It's not a group discussion when God communicates to you directly. This is not a call for a conference. It's a divine whisper intended only for your soul. And looking for earthly validation for a divine teaching is one of the biggest risks during this holy time of obedience. The people around you frequently don't understand the words, promptings, visions, or strategies that God sends you. It won't make sense. It won't be common. It won't be traditional either. But that's because terrestrial reasoning wasn't intended to process it. It was intended to be carried out with a strong sense of spiritual conviction. When a chosen person hears from God plainly and then turns around and asks someone else, "Do you think this is really from God?" That hesitancy, that attempt to get agreement from someone not allocated to your journey, can cause some of the biggest delays and detours. It might raise questions. It can sow doubt where there ought to have been purpose and purity. Type Amen to embrace the angel's blessings. Show your support by giving super thanks up to $20. You see, miscommunication isn't the only threat. The risk is that someone who truly loves about you, but doesn't share your calling will try to talk you out of your heavenly duty. They have good intentions. They wish to keep you safe. But when God spoke, they weren't present. The weight in your chest was not felt by them. They did not shed those tears of concealment. In your wrestle, they weren't there. That lesson was specifically designed for you. Seeking human approval for something that God has established from heaven allows others to alter what God has already written. And let's face it, fear is sometimes the true motivation behind our desire for confirmation. To feel more secure, we would like someone to co-sign it. Before we jump, we want someone to reassure us. However, the reality is that some of God's commands lack safeguards. They need unadulterated faith, not frank conversations. They don't need nods from the outside. They need inside awareness. You are not called to vote by God. Take a step, he said. Indeed, it could feel isolating. It could feel dangerous. But that's how faith typically appears. Ask Noah, who constructed an ark in the absence of rain. Or Abraham, who fled behind everything he knew and had no idea where he was heading. Or Mary, whose innermost promise was incomprehensible to the outside world. All of them had divine instruction, but none had earthly confirmation. You run the risk of ruining your destiny if you continue to reveal to people who weren't present what God revealed you in private. Silence is necessary for certain views. Certain assignments require confidentiality. You're honoring the weight that God has put on you, not because you're concealing. This is the time to start obeying instead of elaborating. This is the time to quit diluting heavenly designs in order to appease other people. Let today be the time when you can say yes to God without needing confirmation from anybody else. In actuality, not everyone is supposed to comprehend. It's okay if not everyone agrees with you or can spiritually understand what you're carrying, since heavenly confirmation always triumphs over public praise. You were picked for this, and what God revealed to you in the hidden location is sufficient. Chapter 4. Spiritual maturity is necessary for quiet obedience. Selected 1. When the path is well lit, the signs are obvious. God explains each step, and the result is assured. Obeying is simple. Obedience like that is easy, but it's also elementary. Something more profound is needed for the stage you're entering now. It goes beyond simple obedience. Quiet obedience and spiritual growth is necessary for that type of obedience. This is the kind of obedience that isn't rewarded. There is no comprehensive roadmap included. It isn't usually accompanied by a nighttime dream or prophetic confirmation. Sometimes it just manifests as a subtle nudge, a weight, or a conviction that you're unable to shake. And without giving you any further details, God will leave it there to see how you react. God isn't merely providing you instructions at this level. He is gauging your level of preparedness. Is it possible to move without drawing attention to yourself? Is it possible to follow a heavenly command without sharing it with others? Without requesting a spotlight, are you able to comply in the dark? This is where those who will hold spiritual leadership will train. Silence is also the test. When it seems like nothing is occurring, will you still follow God? When the doors remain closed, will you still be faithful? Even if no one believes you, will you still follow His instructions? That's what separates spiritual honor from spiritual hype. The purpose of hype is to attract attention. From regard comes honor. God, I don't need you to prove anything. I just need to stay in alignment. Quiet obedience isn't ostentatious. It's not loud, but it's strong because it shows that you have more faith in God's heart than in your own intellect. Type amen to embrace the angel's blessings. Show your support by giving super thanks up to $20. God is more concerned about your alignment than your declaration at this point. He is keeping an eye on you to see if your soul will remain submissive even when your feelings are conflicted. He is teaching you to walk by faith rather than by getting confirmation all the time. You will experience times when you feel isolated. People start to wonder why you don't say anything. There are times when you feel a lot of pressure to justify or prove yourself. However, maintain your attention. Passive obedience is not quiet obedience. It's foretelling. The spirit world is resonating powerfully with every silent step. Heaven is observing. Hell is observing. Both are also taking notes. The enemy attempts to deceive those who are selected into believing that God must not be present if it is silent. However, God frequently uses stillness to help you develop. He fortifies your perception in the silence. He makes you more dependent in the silence. He purifies your intentions in the silence. Silent obedience is heartfelt obedience. You do it because you love God too much to say no, not for praise or results. And this is what you need to keep in mind. God always tests you in private before revealing you to the world. The oil is crushed in secrecy before it flows in the open. There is a wilderness before the table is set. Examination comes before elevation. It's not about speed at this point in your quest. It has to do with depth. It's about being the kind of vessel that God can entrust with more responsibility, more influence, and more glory. Chapter 5. The action that makes all the difference. Selected 1. Every celestial journey has a point at which heaven gives a directive. Despite its seeming diminutive size, it has weight that is much more than what the human eye can perceive. It can appear to be only a peaceful knowing, a soft prod, or a whisper in your soul. But don't be fooled. This is the move that makes all the difference. There won't be any drama. There won't be any loud announcements or fireworks. There won't be a mob supporting you or trumpets in the sky. Tucked away in the creases of your personal obedience, this maneuver will take place in silence. It will feel normal, even awkward. However, it's a turning moment in spirit. God wrote your fate on a timeline that can be unlocked with this step. The change that creates new dimensions and ends old cycles. Furthermore, it's not necessarily a significant public choice. At times, it involves a little private surrender, a quiet letting go, a secret yes or a firm but silent no to whatever was distracting you. Perhaps it's the directive to get out of that setting. Perhaps it's the need to apply for a job for which you feel unqualified. Perhaps it's the desire to relocate to a different city, in a relationship, produce a book, plant a seed, or eventually construct what God revealed to you in the hidden location. Right now, it might not make sense. It may seem dangerous, but reasoning isn't the point here. It has to do with alignment. All you have to do is follow the pieces as heaven moves behind the scenes. Right now, obedience won't always seem thrilling. It could feel hefty. It could feel isolating. It might even feel silly. However, that's because your move isn't solely for you. It's for the history that is associated with your name. It is intended for the generations that will follow you. It's for the individuals your obedience will affect. People you haven't even met yet. An entire bloodline's weight can occasionally be changed by a single act of obedience. And this action is just that. It's foretelling. It is a generational issue. It is a calculated move. And this is what you must comprehend. The enemy knows something you don't. That this next step, albeit quiet, is crucial. He would love for you to put it off, to doubt it, to wait till it makes more sense, to talk yourself out of it. It's a godly trigger move. Favor is released. It awakens spiritual ties. It starts a domino effect of quicker breakthroughs and open doors. Don't be fooled by the instruction's apparent simplicity. It's not always small just because it's silent. And it's not inconsequential just because it feels concealed. You are at a heavenly crossroads. The keys to what comes next are your obedience and faith. Don't strive to solve every problem. Don't wait for others to comprehend. Don't seek approval before obeying God. Simply move. Keep quiet. Act with assurance. Do it with respect. For what's going to happen won't just alter your existence. It will alter the environment around you. It will change whole systems. Your family will be redirected. It will open the entrance to divine liberation and shut the door on previous bonds. Chapter 6. God is observing your approach to the unknown. Examination comes before elevation, and God observes your private behavior before revealing you to the world. Selected 1. Nobody discusses this portion of the voyage. Heaven is watching during the silent season, the secret season, and the invisible obedience that no one applauds for. Being faithful is simple when others are cheering you on. When there is encouragement, acknowledgement, or observable progress, obedience is simple. However, what if it's just God in you? When the consequences are hidden, yet the instruction is weighty. When your name is unknown to those you are called to influence. The vision seems far, and the prayers seem unanswered. The proving ground is there. God isn't evaluating your abilities. He's trying to gauge your posture. When it seems like nothing is working, would you continue to worship? When it seems like you're going alone, would you continue to follow his lead? When no one is looking, will you continue to construct what he demonstrated to you? Because this is the reality. Heaven qualifies you for the scene based on your actions in the hidden. Public power always comes after private allegiance. People are not promoted by God merely because they're gifted, talented, or charismatic. In private, he elevates those who are reliable. Here, in peace, you're being purified. They're purifying your motivations. You're strengthening your spiritual muscles. God's voice is being heard over the cacophony of the throng. He's helping you kick the habit of seeking approval, praise, and affirmation. For the sake of obedience, you're learning how to obey. Because your spirit is in agreement with God's will, not because you want a certain outcome, recognition, or rewards. Maturity is that. Even when it seems like nothing is changing, you're learning how to maintain consistency. Because results aren't the point of obedience. It has to do with alignment. Even when it seems like you're bearing the burden alone, you're learning how to bear it. Because God is actually right there with you, seeing how you deal with the unknown. Don't hate this time of year. Take your time with it. Avoid mistaking it for punishment. This is progress, not a delay. This is refinement, not rejection. Few are prepared to bear the cross, but many desire the crown.